If you haven't watched the previous parts yet, make sure to watch those by clicking the card right up at the top of the screen. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of these stories. Now, on to the main event. Shadow's vision returns, and the first thing he notices is that he's no longer holding his Chaos Emerald. Shadow thinks back to his fight with the Silver Hedgehog and softly bangs his fist into the ground. He hardly has the energy left to grimace, let alone lift himself off the ground. His ears perk up and twitch a bit. In the distance, he's pretty sure that he can hear footsteps, and they're approaching quickly. With no other option, he lays on the ground awaiting what happens next. A little ways down the road, Blaze, still carrying an unconscious Amy Rose, notices the debris scattered all around the street before her. Upon walking for a bit longer, she stumbles across the helpless Shadow. The hedgehog barely manages to lift his head and looks over at the pair in front of him. Is every hedgehog in the immediate area going to require my assistance? Shadow glares at the stranger and lets himself fall back into unconsciousness. Seeing Amy in the strange cat's arms gives him enough confidence that the feline approaching him isn't a threat. Blaze stares down at Amy and then at the other hedgehog at her feet. She looks up at the sky and it looks different to her. She's positive at this point that she's not in her dimension anymore. Back at Wave Ocean, a metallic claw reaches out of the water and clamps down on the dock. The sound of a struggling engine and water sloshing gives way to Metal Sonic finally pulling himself out of the ocean. As he struggles to lift himself onto the dock, a shoe pins his hand to the floor, catching him by surprise. Metal Sonic looks up at his attacker and tilts his head. What he sees is a silhouette that looks a lot like Shadow's, but as a gloved hand reaches down and lifts him out of the water by his throat, the glare eases up and before him stands a hedgehog he's not familiar with. Come to think of it, his sensors don't even indicate that this is a hedgehog. In fact, they can't seem to identify what this creature is at all. What a pity. Such a perfectly good toy abandoned beneath the waves. You could be doing so much more, yet he forces you to fight meaningless battle after meaningless battle. Metal Sonic struggles against Mephiles' grasp, but that just makes the situation worse. Don't bother. The only way you're walking away from this is by my side. I may already have one pawn at my disposal, but one with skills such as yourself could be quite beneficial. Why not come over to the winning side? A purple fog begins emanating from the hand holding up Metal Sonic. He squirms with all his might as the energy consumes him, causing him to cease movement. Mephiles drops the robot and he lands on his feet beside him. As the fog clears, Metal Sonic's typical red eyes change to a hazy dark purple. Now that you're seeing things my way, go forth and find me the emeralds. I know that you'll be a valuable asset to my cause, and once you have succeeded, you can do whatever you please. He pauses for a moment. But fail me, and you'll long for the watery grave you just emerged from. Mephiles laughs to himself and vanishes into the shadows. Metal Sonic watches as he goes, and then looks up at the sky, several dots appearing on his vision. We are now in a metallic corridor. All is quiet until an explosion rocks the entire place and a door flies off its hinges and slams into the wall across the way. Omega struts through the opening, turns his torso back the way he came, and unloads a barrage of bullets from his arm cannons. Omega fully enters the corridor just as Rouge flies in behind him. She does not look happy. Omega, what did I tell you on our way here?
That this was a stealth operation.
Right, so care to explain why you ignored me?
You are mistaken. This is me being stealthy.
As Omega delivers that line, an egg pawn slowly eases into the frame next to him. Omega raises his arm cannon mid-sentence, pointing it at the helpless machine. As the sounds of more bullets ring out, the camera focuses on Rouge's face, and she scowls at her partner. The two run down the hallway, Omega executing every robot that crosses their path, and as they round the corner, the duo literally bumps directly into Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Omega raises his arm cannons in defense. Whoa, 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 easy does it, Tin Man. Omega lowers one of his cannons. You? What are you doing here? Normally I'd revel at the opportunity to match wits with you, Red, but we really don't have the time. Are you guys here investigating the city too? Yep, official gun business. Can't spill too much about it though, but that's mostly because we know next to nothing. I trust that you three wouldn't misuse our information anyway. She winks at the trio. Sonic rolls his eyes, and Knuckles looks at the ground in frustration.
Question. Are you three also pursuing Dr. Eggman for further intel on the situation? If so, there is no need for you to continue. I will destroy him myself.
Sorry, buddy. Can't let you do that before we figure out what's going on here.
I am not your buddy. If you get in my way, I will not hesitate to destroy you as well.
It's funny to me that you think you could do that. Alright, you two, enough! We're this close to finding out what's going on here. I can't have either of you destroying anyone right now. Besides, 5 heads are better than 2.
The only head I require is Dr. Eggman's, on a platter.
You really need to work out some of those anger issues. The quintet proceeds down the hall, dealing with any robots they come across until they reach a room with a massive computer. No one stops them from entering and there isn't anyone inside. Finally, an access point! Rouge starts tapping away on the keyboard and Tails joins her to ensure that the hacking goes smoothly. Alright, I'm in! Now we can add whatever information we find here to whatever Shadow has found out, and we'll have an even more complete picture. Shadow is here too? Man, there's so many people around, it's getting kinda hard to keep track of them all. Rouge works her way through the computer, clicking on file after file until she comes across a curious log. Here we go. This file is massive and rather recent too. Entry FOD. After a recent setback involving interdimensional conquest. Failed, might I add, because of you-know-who, a particular legend was brought to my attention thanks to my soul dimension counterpart. A formidable force that he hadn't even been able to locate. The Flames of Disaster. An ancient power responsible for a monumental cataclysm thousands of years in the past. Being a soul dimension entity, it's not surprising that I hadn't heard of it. The most similar thing I could equate it to would be chaos from our world. However, I don't think this force is a direct parallel. All I know is that if I was able to harness this power somehow, my enemies wouldn't stand a chance. And I like the sound of that. In the meantime, though, I might have another idea of how I can free myself of some troublesome vermin. Be a dear and turn around, would you? The gang looks up from the screen, and then at each other. Tails is the first to look over his shoulder, and behind them, a very smug-looking Dr. Eggman. His hand slams into a button on the wall, and a giant glass container closes the group in. Did you really think I'd just let you waltz into my base and do whatever you wanted? Well, it's not like you've been able to stop us from doing it before. This didn't feel that much different. Always with the sass. You should reevaluate your predicament before running your mouth. Omega readies his weapons again and fires everything he's got at the glass. The entire chamber fills with a dark smoke and the organics begin coughing. Tails spins his tails as hard as he can and manages to push the smoke far enough away from the group that they can catch their breaths. Were you trying to kill us or him? Think before you act, man! Oh, that is hilarious coming from you. What did you just say? Guys, now really isn't the time for this. I'll really miss that about you, Tails. You always knew how to keep the riff-raff in line. Honestly, your intelligence impressed even me. A sharp light cuts through the smoke at the top of the chamber. A pink energy begins surrounding the entire group. Sonic and Knuckles begin hammering the glass with everything they've got, but to no avail. You've tried a lot in the past to get rid of us, Egghead. What makes you think this time will be any different? For once you're right, Hedgehog. I don't know. What? We know for a fact that 1 Chaos Emerald can activate Chaos Control. We know that 7 Emeralds turns you into an unstoppable blonde force of pure sparkles. But we don't know what, for example, 4 Emeralds can do with their power funneled directly into one area. He grins menacingly at his captives. If you all aren't utterly obliterated, please do let me know what happens. The gang helplessly bangs on the glass, yelling at the doctor, but nothing can be heard over the growing sound of the chaos energy building up. After a moment, the entire room flashes and the quintet is gone, leaving only a smoldering black mark on the floor. Dr. Eggman's smile lifts into something more jovial as he looks over the remnants of his foes. Well, I was hoping Shadow would be with them, but I've eliminated 5 huge threats today. That's honestly a good day's work. Now, to find the rest of the emeralds. Eggman walks out of the room and disappears down the hall. Elsewhere, Silver is running through the jungle in search of more emeralds. He lifts a massive stone boulder and sends it flying through a wall, creating a new path for himself. He floats down into the clearing when something sparkly catches his eye. Excitedly, he rushes over to the gleaming stone and picks it up. It's the same color as the Chaos Emerald he already has, but it's a different shape. He notices that even more so than the Chaos Emerald, this stone emanates a strong heat. Well, I don't know if I'd call this an emerald per se, but it must be one of the things I'm looking for. Do you make a habit of talking to yourself? Silver looks around in confusion before Blaze jumps down from a tree and lands beside him. Silver stumbles backwards and falls down, dropping the Soul Emerald. Blaze leans down and recovers it, and then offers Silver a hand. Silver takes it, and she pulls him back onto his feet. I appreciate the help. I appreciate that you found one of the emeralds for me. So it is one of the emeralds. How many do you have? This one makes 3. I'm well on my way to finding all 7 now. Though I don't know why I'm telling you this. It's no one's business but my own. Glad to see there's at least one hedgehog around here that can stand on their own, though. Blaze turns to leave, but Silver grabs her arm. Blaze stiffens and looks back over her shoulder. It would be wise to unhand me. Silver's head is tilted down and his eyes are closed. Your 3 plus my 1 means that I'm even closer to completing my mission. Blaze looks away from the hedgehog. Very well. Remember, this could have been avoided. She tears her arm free from Silver's meager grip and whirls around to face him. Do you want a Silver and Blaze boss fight now? Because that's what's happening. In this fight, Blaze displays similar techniques to Shadow, except she's using fire instead of energy attacks. She's also a lot faster and harder to defeat as a result. Silver also isn't able to attack Blaze with the fire he grabs from her attacks. Instead, he has to use the various debris found around the arena to attack Blaze when she's charging a massive fireball. These fireballs will actually end the fight if you're not careful, and that's for a story reason, but they are not hard to stop. Remember, one-hit kills are stupid. No one should ever have them unless they are really well telegraphed and easy to prevent. I'm looking at you, Persona Games. After the fight, Silver is thrown backwards by one of Blaze's fireballs. He desperately tries to compress it with his powers and is able to almost fully destroy it, but a small lick of flames spreads to a collection of vines beside them. As they burst into flames, Silver stares in horror. Before his eyes, he sees the fire spreading, but when he closes his eyes, he's back in his world, devastated by the same terrible power. His eyes flash to Blaze, who is approaching him, more fire crackling in her palms. Stop, please! Don't burn anything else! You don't know how lucky you are to have colors other than red, yellow, and gray to populate your world. I promise to save this world. I can't be the reason it burns. Please, you can have the Chaos Emeralds. Just stop, please. Silver weakly drops to his knees and relinquishes his only emerald to Blaze. Blaze allows herself to cool down. She looks concerned at the newcomer's distress, so she takes one of her emeralds out to get his attention. You're not from my dimension, are you? Thanks to some context clues, I don't think you're from this one either. Otherwise, you'd recognize that this isn't a Chaos Emerald. Silver looks up in surprise. He studies both jewels and then looks up at Blaze sheepishly. Oh, sorry. Who are you? Where are you from? And where did you get this? She points to the Chaos Emerald. Silver looks forlorn over everything that's happened. He slowly stands back up, holding the emerald in his hands. If I tell you, you'll think I'm crazy. Besides, if I wait too long, it might be too late to stop Iblis. He looks off into the distance and then back to Blaze. His words don't seem to register with her at all, but she can practically sense the guilt and sadness radiating from the stranger. She walks up and gently puts a hand on his shoulder. I know not what this Iblis you speak of is, but if it has you this worried, perhaps I should be worried too. If you are willing to elaborate, I know of people that can help you. She looks him in the eyes. And I would like to help you too. Silver's guard is fully down now. He can tell that this person isn't an enemy. Plus, if she's telling the truth and there are more people that can help him find the emeralds, then he might as well believe her. More than that, he's tired of being alone. He wants to believe her. My name is Silver. I've come to your time to prevent a horrible disaster that puts it on a path to ruin. I was told that anyone collecting the Chaos Emeralds was my enemy. But maybe Mephiles was wrong. Maybe together, we can save this world. And that's all for this week. I'm going to try to switch off between Generations and 06 until one of them finishes, and then we'll see what happens next. What was your favorite part of this part? What do you think will happen next? Do you guys think Sonic and the gang are really gone? Comment down below, I'm eager to see what you think will happen. As always, if you like this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic rewrites and other things that aren't Sonic rewrites, because I do a lot of things. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters who are No Men, Gamer Fanatico 123, Raiden Still Plays, Chaotic Mercenary, Cosmic Mushroom, Ty Little Tech Guy, Jaded Indolent, Jeremy, Lucas Tallman, Mega Trafficone, Crystal, and Mike TGC. Also thank you to Rob Morrison on Patreon and everyone else who supports me in the $1 tiers. If you want to get in on these shoutouts, please go ahead and click the join button beneath the video, and just know you'll be helping me out a ton if you do manage to pledge even just $1. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.